Welcome back to some more Himatsubushi. So, where we last left off, we were supposed to investigate where the wallet was dropped. So, let's continue reading. Oishi leaned over, indicating the other side of the thicket. He was pointing to a prefabricated shed and a car that was parked beside it. The car looked obviously well cared for. It wasn't a vehicle that had been left there for several years. What's that shed? It contains equipment used by the Forestry Service. I heard that they don't go near it except during the summertime. Does that car belong to somebody from the Forestry Service then? Dunno. Doesn't look like an official vehicle though. Oishi was playing it cool, but my nervousness was gradually increasing. Just in case. Saying that, Oishi returned to the car. Let me guess. Is he going to get his gun? I thought he was going to get an umbrella, but he had grabbed the onboard radio instead. Oh. Why do you need an umbrella? You need something more important of use. Fuck rain. You don't need umbrellas. Instead, hello, this is Oishi. Do you read? Greetings. Greetings. Yes, this is the Okonomiya SP. Oishi-san, we read you loud and clear, over. I'm currently in front of the Forestry Service's equipment shed. Not the one in the direction of Yaguchi, the one in Takasudo. If you head there from Hanamizawa. Affirmative. Copy that. There's some suspicious people in the shed. Proceeding to investigate. If you don't hear back from me in 5 minutes, get in touch with the local police substation and have them send a cruiser as soon as possible. If you would, please. Understood. Well then, shall we go take a look? Oh shit. Oh god. Is that the same shed from earlier? Since he was first confined here, he had heard the sound of a car multiple times. So he had just thought the far-off sound was more of the same. However, the reaction from his captors was, until now, something he hadn't seen before. They jumped, reacting as if shocked by a jolt of electricity, and pressed against the window, cautiously peering outside. They stopped. Somebody from the Forestry Service? This is bad. Nah, looks like a cop to me. One of the captors lifted the boy by his collar and pressed the blade against his cheek. Hey kid, keep quiet for a bit. I think you know this, but if you try and shout, there'll be problems. Toshiki Inogai was sure that the doctor had reported things to the police. He had felt relief when he thought that he was saved, but not imagining that his captors would resort to violence when they were cornered. His anxiety remained unabated. Unabated? Whatever. What do we do? Gotta buy time. Take the kid and slip out of the back. We'll meet you back here when the heat's off. One of the perpetrators grabbed the boy by the collar and forced him to stand. Of course, Toshiki Inogai tried to resist by feigning that his illness had been aggravated by this rough treatment, but his captors paid no heed. Wow, what a bunch of assholes. Bang, bang, bang. The door was violently banged upon. Excuse me. Hello. Bang, bang. It's like the sound of guns going on. The door was banged on again. Toshiki Inogai hesitated for a moment to respond to that voice by yelling. However, while he was being indecisive, his mouth was covered, taking that option away from him. The leader of the captors waved at the other to go. The younger perpetrator nodded in response, and while keeping the boy's mouth covered, started heading towards the back door. Yolo, you need something? How do you do? This is the police. Would you mind opening the door? This sun and rain has us in a bit of trouble. I'll just The moment the lock was undone, Oishi forced the door open, and with a gleam of menace in his eyes, he pushed the man aside as he stepped into the room. Then, in the small and empty room, he was able to quickly discern that the boy he was looking for was nowhere to be seen. I heard this was an equipment shed for the Forestry Service, but there's nothing here at all. There was nothing inside the room that would indicate that this was an equipment shed. There was only a mountain of blankets, indicating that somebody was sleeping here, alongside empty food packets strewn about. Ah, it's been empty for some time now. Never seen no equipment stored around here. But this is the Forestry Services building, isn't it? Are you from the Forestry Service? How about you? How about you? Police? The two of them glared at each other suspiciously. Both Oishi and the man steadfastly refused to reveal their identity before the other did. The man, judging from the sharp look in Oishi's eyes, realized that it would hard to talk his way out of this one. No matter what he said, the most time he could buy would probably be only a few dozen seconds. Only the sound of rain filled this tense moment. Just then they heard the struggle. Oh my god. Just then they heard the sound of a struggle from far off. Oishi had a hunch. There was no doubt that Akasaka, who was circling around back, had run into the perpetrators who were trying to slip away. As Oishi thought that, the man in front of him reacted a moment faster. The man swung with an attack that was more intended to obscure Oishi's vision rather than actually hit him in the face. Seizing his opportunity, the man aimed a kick at Oishi's groin without any hesitation. But he missed his mark and was unable... Oh god. But he missed his mark and was unable to land that critical blow. The man trying to pin Oishi grabbed him by the base of his neck with both hands and fiercely tried to push him down. But, as Oishi fell backwards, as if kicking the man upward, he dug his foot into the man's midsection. With that leg acting as a fulcrum, the man was flung by the falling Oishi as if by a circle throw. The two of them squared off in the pouring rain. Isn't this interesting? You want to go? Nah. Oishi, as if trying to cheer himself on, grinned smugly. He then stood up while brushing the mud off himself. Even though he encountered the assault, Oishi was getting up rather awkwardly compared to the man who he threw, who swiftly sprang to his feet. Oishi-san! Hurry! Akasaka's voice rang out from the distance. Judging from the distress in his voice, he was already engaged in a fight, and wanted Oishi to reconvene with him. But Oishi's hands were full as well. Akasaka-san! Sorry, but can you wait a bit? The man raised both fists into... Oh god. The man raised both fists into a stance that hinted at him being acquainted with karate or some other form of martial art. Of course, Oishi, as an officer of the law, was decently versed in judo. He also had the moxie to have been through his fair share of fights before. Because of that, he could tell that the man in front of him was quite a bit better at fighting than he was. Ah, damn it! Thinking that this was going to be easy just because the order came from the Sonozaki family to release the hostage had been a big mistake. You're pretty good. It's been a while since I got this worked up. Oishi played off the situation like it was no sweat. His opponent, seeing his attitude, took that to mean that Oishi wasn't going to go down easily. The man wildly charged forward, attempting to grab Oishi. If the man managed a successful clinch from his low stance, Oishi would be tackled to the ground and ended up being mounted. It was something you saw often when children fought, but it really was a bad position since you couldn't do much once you were in it. Oishi, responding to that move, also lowered his stance to collide with the man head-on. The moment they clashed, Oishi grabbed the man's lapel. As he yanked the lapel upwards, he smashed into the man's solar plexus with the elbow of the same arm. It was a move from Oishi's own personal brand of brawling judo. He then grabbed on with his free hand and attempted to throw his opponent with both hands. But the man lowered his center of gravity and swung his arms in a large arc, entwining them with Oishi's. Not only that, but he had forced both of Oishi's elbows to the outside, and Oishi, now in an awkward position, was in danger of exposing his back with his hands still clutching the man's chest. This guy practiced Aikido or grappling, didn't he? Oishi, cursing the fact that his fingers were twisted into the man's shirt and couldn't get away, released his grip. But he was still in the awkward position of being bent over, and to top it off, at zero range. The man was able to read Oishi's movements completely as he tried to squirm his way into a better position, and then took the palms of his hands and swiftly clapped them over both of Oishi's ears. Arr! Clapping the ears in any other martial art except for self-defense was basically forbidden. Karate and Judo didn't recognize it as a legal technique. It was that much of a simple and dangerous attack. Oishi raised both his hands as he tried to reflexively clutch at his own ears, but before that could happen, the man wrapped his arms around Oishi's neck. His thick biceps clenched firmly around the base of Oishi's neck like a vis. I don't know how you pronounce it. Vise or whatever? Viz. Oishi instantly thought he was going to be killed. After all, it wasn't hard to believe that a man like this, who was accustomed to fighting, could crush his opponent's neck from this position. But his opponent didn't do that. He had chosen to keep his hold and force Oishi to lose consciousness. That's why Oishi at that moment, even though his face was twitching, was grinning widely. Even though his opponent had a chance to kill him, he didn't choose to. He was thinking, this guy has no intention of killing me. However, even though that might be the case, the man's hold on his neck was by no means gentle. In no time at all, Oishi's consciousness began to fade. Having the experience of being taken down countless times in judo during his student days, Oishi was utterly resigned to the fact that it was over. Oh, great. Akasaka was finally recovering from the intense pain of being kicked in a rather sensitive area. He had bumped into the captor carrying the boy by the back entrance. He had seen Toshiki Inogai's picture plenty of times, but wasn't able to immediately ascertain if the boy in front of him was the real deal. What with his mouth covered in packing tape. Also, with his limited experience, it wasn't hard for him to panic over how to deal with the situation. Of course, the perpetrator didn't overlook this momentary lapse. His kick landed squarely in a critical spot, with Akasaka not even having time to call for help. As the man flung the boy over his shoulder, he headed towards the front of the shed. But upon hearing Oishi's bellowing voice, he gave up on going that direction. He then dashed off towards the forest, as if the weight of the boy slung over his shoulder wasn't even there. Akasaka was lost for a moment. Meeting up with Oishi, who was fighting with the enemy, was by far the safer option. But he couldn't just lose sight of the fleeing man. Akasaka stood up and chased after the captor's back. He ran through a short thicket, branches and fallen leaves crunching underfoot. The tips of branches raked and clawed at him, small scratches inscribing themselves on his body on after another. He kept on stepping into puddles of mud, and his shoes were soon filled with murky water. For Akasaka, traveling through this unexplored forest was, even though this was an emergency situation, extremely unpleasant. "Stop! This is the police!" As he said that, he regretted it immediately, as it was but a waste of breath. There wasn't a thief in the world that would politely stop when told to by the police. Well, no shit! To a city boy like Akasaka, running through this forest was an arduous task. However, it must have been no easy task either for the man carrying the minister's grandson. He neither gained nor lost ground in his pursuit. Akasaka, upon realizing that, gained back a bit of composure. Just keep on chasing him. We were running in the same conditions. In fact, the man running with an awkward stride was at far more of a disadvantage. They couldn't run forever. Eventually, he'd definitely trip and fall. As long as he was being hounded, he would definitely stumble. And soon his wish was fulfilled. Whoa! The man, who had stepped in something and lost his balance, was no longer able to bear the weight of the boy dropping him. Akasaka, in all honesty, didn't care about the perpetrator at all, just as long as he could ensure the safety of Toshiki and Nogai. So if the perpetrator ran off by himself, it was perfectly acceptable. But it seemed that Toshiki and Nogai was important to the man as well, and didn't elect to just run away empty-handed. Akasaka didn't know what to do in this kind of situation. His first priority should probably be to ensure the safety of the boy, subduing his captor being less important. Grappling with the perpetrator wasn't something he planned on, but most likely it was either do or die. Akasaka's moment of indecision proved to be fatal. The man, aiming right between, or rather for both of Akasaka's eyes, struck out with a jab. Not wanting that, Akasaka raised both his hands to shield his face. At that moment, the man kicked at his unguarded midsection. The pain almost felt like his vital organs were being squeezed out of his body, but he lashed onto his opponent's leg. But his opponent didn't hesitate one bit. Leading with his seized foot, the man jumped at Akasaka, applying pressure and pushing him down. Akasaka was unable to withstand that and fell, but under no circumstances was he letting that leg go. The two men fell together in a tangled heap. The man was desperate to pull his leg free from Akasaka, but having fallen in an awkward position, was unable to. The two of them rolled around on the ground, floundering about, trying to gain an advantage. But Akasaka, who was holding onto his opponent's knee with both hands, and that opponent, who had complete freedom to move his upper body, were in two completely different situations. The man gained a positional advantage on Akasaka, who was still lashed onto his leg and couldn't move away, and pounded full force on his head with both his fists. Not only that, he found a rock nearby and beat it against Akasaka's skull. Thwack, thwack, thwack. The difference between being hit with a fist and being hit with a rock was vast. Akasaka quickly thought of letting go of the man's leg to free his hands to protect his head. But if he let go here, the man would get away. If he didn't dig in here, everything would be for naught. The boy he was trying to save was right there. He was going to save him and go back to Tokyo. If he could do that, then it was goodbye to this freakish village. Bam, crack, thud. Without looking, I could tell my forehead had split open and was gushing blood. But I didn't let go of the man's leg. How could I? I won't let go. When the man realized that no matter how much he beat my head, he wasn't getting away, he used both his hands to grab my throat as if to crush my windpipe. I pulled my head back as a slight form of resistance, but it was of no use. The man's hands enveloped my neck and began to crush it like a viscera. It was less about the pain of not being able to breathe, so much as it was choking so hard I felt like I was going to throw up. It felt like my stomach was going to turn itself inside out, but I could only endure it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. My throat hurts. I won't let go. I can't let go. I didn't want to be here. I wanted to resolve this and go back to Tokyo. Go back to Tokyo and talk to Yuki all about our unborn child. We were going to talk about our bright future. I had no intention of loosening my grip. However, it loosened just a bit and the man's leg came free. The man kicked as hard as possible and I tumbled backwards. My head was spinning and I was unable to get up right away. No, I couldn't even put any strength into getting up in the first place. Even so, I couldn't back down. If I let him escape now, this chance would never come again. Even just catching their scent was nothing short of a miracle. If we weren't able to get the minister's grandson back here, there wouldn't be another chance. The man tried to drag the boy to his feet, but the kid was displaying some unexpected resistance, allowing me to get up unnoticed. I grasped the rock the man had just beat me over the head with. Now it's my turn. Yarr! The rock should be able to supplement what meager strength I had left, adding more than enough power to my attack. My fist, still wrapped around the rock, dug into the side of the man's torso. It seems like it hurt him quite a bit. Ugh. Gah. The man rolled around for a bit, clutching his side. Yes, and go for the head. Freed from the man's grip, the boy hid behind me. Toshiki Inogai, right? I come to help you. Aw, you fucking idiot. Fucking take him out. To the boy, those were the words he was waiting for the most. But the crisis was still not over. That was because even though he was still clutching his side, the man had gotten up again and had taken his fighting stance. That's why you should have finished him off, you fucking dumbass. Holy shit. Taking a fine stance, god damn it. I could see him in the man's eyes, the resentment at the pain I had caused him, and the confidence that he could still beat me. If we were to clash head-on again, he might not even stop if my head were split open. Stop resisting. Surrender quietly. You should just hand the boy over. Do you want me to snap your neck? Who would listen to you now? Reinforcements are already on their way. There's nowhere for you to run. The man reacted adversely to the word reinforcements. That was because he now knew that arguing like this wasn't just waste of time, but put him closer and closer to danger. Realizing that, the man shifted mental gears almost too quickly. Then let's finish this fast. How about this? What? What the man pulled from his back pocket was, of all things, a gun. Of course, I'm a police officer. It's not like I don't know what a gun is. But having one pointed at me was something I never experienced before. Was it real? Of course it was. There's no way it'll be a replica in a situation like this. Put both your hands behind your head and lay down quietly. Don't get cocky, you villain. I won't do anything you say. You stupid idiot. Do you not know what this is without me shooting you with it? Then shoot. Reinforcements will hear the gunshot and head right over here. Are you stupid? We're in the middle of the forest and on top of that it's raining. They'll never hear a thing. As long as he still held that gun, no matter how much I yelled at him, I was at a distant disadvantage. But I still had a fighting chance. If I were in his shoes, instead of wasting time yelling at each other like this, I would just shoot him and take the boy. That way was the fastest and would suppress any sort of further resistance from him. But the man was demanding my surrender without having fired a shot, meaning that he either didn't want to shoot or couldn't. In other words, the man in front of me was soft. If I could buy even just a little more time, the factors that would lead to my victory were numerous. Oishi was probably on his way. Well, he probably got knocked out, and the reinforcements we called for before coming here should already be well on their way too. Not only that, they should have contacted the local police box. Without a doubt, somebody stationed in the village would be here much quicker than that. Damn it! Do I have to put a bullet in you to understand how dangerous this thing is? There's no escape. Don't add to your crimes. At that moment, I heard the rustling of foliage and heavy footsteps approaching. Oh boy. I hope... Just watch, he's going to get... Just watch, Akasaka is going to get ambushed. If Oishi was coming here, it was a whole new ball game. The man couldn't have more than one gun. Oishi-san, over here, over here. Huh? I had thought that time was on my side, but I have failed to even imagine that the enemy could also have reinforcements. You could tell the man who had just appeared was one of the perpetrators just by looking at him. What you doing? If you don't hurry up, the police get here. Police will get here. Stop lollygagging. Damn it, what happened to Oishi-san? The chubby fella? He's down for the count. He is? Damn it. The boy, sensitive to the impending danger, curled up behind my back. How could this be? Damn it. Your buddy isn't coming. Serves you right. Shoes on the other foot now. As I backed up against a large tree while still protecting the boy, the second man also pulled out a gun. Won't be saying this twice. Put your hands on your head and lie down. I refuse. Bang. As I shot in protest, blood erupted from my left shoulder. It took a few moments to register that I had been shot. Compared to the ones from in movies and TV dramas, the first actual gunshot I heard was simple and mundane. In fact, the sound was more akin to the small fireworks I used to buy from the corner store as a kid. But there was no comparing the pain. It was a fear you knew only after you'd been shot. Sir? Are you okay? Are you okay? The boy, in his confusion, tugged at my clothes, agitating the wound even further. I wanted to put on a bold face and reassure him, but my voice was hoarse and had the opposite effect. I'm alright. I've already called for backup. There'll be a full squad here soon. It'll be quicker to put on through your head before the cops get here. But the family said no needless killing, so I'm taking it easy on you. Don't mess with me or I ain't holding back. This was bad. It was very, very bad. This second man was a completely different beast than the first. He had no signs of indecisiveness or mercy. If this man said he'd shoot, he'd shoot. He wasn't somebody that a man like me could buy time from. I really hated the minute, but at that moment, the image of Yuki's smiling face crossed the back of my mind. I knew what that meant. I was warning myself to not throw my life away over a matter of pride. Of course, I didn't want to die here. I was just starting a new life with Yuki, and I wanted to see the face of our soon-to-be-born child. Why should I risk my life for some minister's grandson when I was at such a critical juncture in my whole life? Ah, damn it. I need to stop rambling on myself. So what do I do now? Give up the boy and extend my own life? What a good idea. Everybody's life is precious. My own life was in danger. Nobody would blame me. Ah, damn it, it hurts. If I had known it would be this painful, I wouldn't have played the tough guy. My biggest miscalculation, though, was that the sound of the gunshot was far quieter than I had imagined. If it was only that loud, it would be drowned out by the rain in the forest. It wasn't something that somebody far away could hear. Damn it. Just wait. I don't want to die. And I don't want to kill you. As long as you understand. Don't shoot, okay? Don't shoot. I have a wife waiting for me at home. I don't want to die. I won't shoot as long as you don't yell or nothing. Just quietly put your hands on your head and lie down. Will you really? Will you really? You'll keep your promise, right? This is a promise between men. I will. It's a promise between men. Keep your promise. Keep it. I'm going to get down on the ground, okay? I'm getting down. I'll keep my promise, so stop pointing that gun at me. You're still thinking of shooting me, aren't you? You want to shoot me, don't you? When I get down on the ground, you're just going to shoot me in the back of the head, aren't you? I won't. Fine. I'll put it away. I'll put the gun away. It's a promise between men. There. No problem now, right? Yeah, absolutely no complaints. God. It was over in a flash. The moment he lowered his gun, Oishi didn't let his chance slip by. Oh man. Oishi, the fucking beast, came back. Oh man, what's happening now? Chance slipped by. Oishi had been assessing the situation for quite some time from behind the two men. But since they had their guns trained on me, he didn't really have a chance to jump in. Seeing the look on Oishi's face indicating that he wanted me to create an opening, I took on that role completely. Oishi forcefully lifted the arm that was holding the gun. He then took the gun from the man's hand, and only in an instant. The other man, who was a bit slow in grasping what was happening, pointed his gun at them, but with his ally grappling with Oishi, he couldn't pull the trigger. If that man was the one that was wrestling with Oishi at the moment, he might have shot without hesitation. But this man wouldn't shoot. He couldn't shoot for shit. Oishi kicked the other man away, and while aiming the stolen gun from his left hand, pulled out his own. With guns akimbo, he was aiming at both men at the same time. I do believe that's checkmate. It was perfectly played. But heedless of the guns pointing at them, the men shouted, "Scram!" as they scattered away at full speed. It was over in an instant. Oh, these two fucking pussied out. He didn't shoot them. He didn't even shoot them in the legs. Motherfucker. Oh, man. That sucks. Like, Oishi was fucking beasting and shit. Those two running away without putting up a fight was honestly unexpected. Oishi, quietly clicking his tongue in an admonishment, slipped both guns into his pants pockets. Tisk, those guys know their stuff. Huh? What do you mean? An officer wouldn't fire somebody who's fleeing. I want to keep my pension here. Oh, okay, well, whatever. Oishi and I grinned at each other. Are you Toshiki Inogai? The grandson of the Minister of Construction, Inogai? Yes, this is going to be a major incident. We probably only cut the tail off the lizard, though. Oishi smiled amusedly. The fact that the ODA, or rather the Sonozaki family behind them, was pulling the strings was apparent, but proving it wouldn't be easy, and with apologies to Oishi, this incident was unlikely to go public. If this caused an uproar, it would obviously lead to the minister losing his office, with HQ having decided that doing so was in the national interest. This would probably be cleaned up quietly. It might be a rough way of saying it, but this was born in the shadows, and was going to die in the shadows. Oishi probably already understood the implications behind this incident. For the time being, let's cordon off the area, since it seems that one of them still has a gun. After that, let's get Inogai-kun to safety and get you to the hospital. Well, damn straight, I got shot in the fucking shoulder. No shit. As the tension in the situation faded, the pain from the gunshot wound in my shoulder blossomed once again. My forehead was also stinging painfully and had grown hot enough to start a fire. Thinking that the tension had caused me to sweat, I wiped my forehead, but what came off was a large amount of blood. I realized that my shirt had been stained bright crimson. I keep stuttering. I realized that my shirt had been stained bright crimson from the blood flowing from my head. I turned around. The boy was safe and sound, without a doubt. There would probably be an investigation on the men who ran, but that was for another day. At this point in time, I could safely say we had cleared the major hurdle of securing the boy's safety. Yeah, especially when it's that dangerous in the fucking rain and the goddamn forest and shit. Boy's safety. Alright, as soon as I recognized that, it felt like the lights in my head had been hit by a power failure. My knees buckled from beneath me. The ground there feeling as soft as a cloud. It didn't feel unpleasant even as I was covered in the rain-soaked mud. Oishi came closer asking if I was okay, but somehow I couldn't tell. I turned off the switch to the last light in my head. The exhaustion enveloped me. Sleep. Something softer than any blanket wrapped around me. And that's that. So I assumed that he lost the remaining amount of energy to be conscious, of course, because of all the brain damage he received from the fucking from the fight and the shot and the gunshot wound from the shoulder. So that makes sense. Alright, so I'm gonna save here. But before I do anything, let's read the tip. A very kind person. Patients admitted to the hospital can only accept calls at fixed times. That's why she wouldn't be receiving a call from him today. Yesterday she had teased him that he got lonely easily, so he might have struggled with the idea of calling her sooner. This was much easier to imagine, rather than that he might just be too busy to call. Because he's just that type of person. Yuki, whispering that, smiled to herself. The announcement that visiting hours were over played over the hospital intercom, along with some music. She exchanged pleasantries with the family of the patient that was staying in the same room as her, probably eager for his mother to be discharged. Their small child was wearing a beaming smile. That child's mother was pregnant in the bed next to mine with what may be their new brother or sister. They were probably ready to burst with the expectations, dreams, and worries of having a new sibling. The joys of a growing family. Bathing in those warm feelings, I stroked my own belly, which had grown quite large. I had talked with him about how many children we wanted to have. We talked about how if we had 3, it would certainly be lively. That's going to be a challenging moment to raise some kids, to be honest. Than lively, that is. However, there was the inescapable worry of whether I would be able to handle giving birth that many times. There isn't a mother out there who would hate to give birth because of that worry, though. Yuki, smiling as she said that to herself, gently stroked her stomach. The Metropolitan Public Safety Division, the place where that man's sense of justice had led him. That person was actually a very gentle, very fragile person. He didn't talk much about the specifics, but I didn't think he was suited for the assignment he was on right now. But as long as he said he was going to try his best, I would watch over him warmly. Your father, you see, is a very hard worker, you know? Coochie coochie coo. Yuki seemed to be enjoying herself as she talked to her own belly. At that moment, Yuki suddenly became concerned about something and looked out the window. It used to be this time, long ago. She remembered that when she was little, around this time in the countryside where her grandmother lived, the Higurashi would fill the air with their chorus. This was the middle of Tokyo. Unlike in the countryside, you couldn't hear the song of the Higurashi. But for some reason, at that moment, Yuki felt that she wanted to hear that song. And that's the end of that tip. And let's look at all the tips. Alright, so covered all of these and all of these. So that's that. Alright. So that marks chapter 4. So next part, we're going to move on to part 5, aka chapter 5 of Himatsubushi. So like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned. Have a good one.